Hey, what's up guys, Benny here. Now, one of the most important things that you can work on to get better at Black Ops 4 Blackout is your aim. The better aim you have, the more kills you're going to be able to pick up and win games more consistently. So in this video, I'm going to show you everything that you can do to get better aim in Blackout, whether that's sniping opponents at a distance, using certain perks, attachments, drills that you can do. I'm going to have everything you need in this video so you know how to get better aim. Let's start off with your sensitivity. If you've been playing battle royales like Fortnite, it's likely you're going to be getting used to using a higher sensitivity so you could build quickly. However, that is not the case in Blackout. There is no need for you to have a high sensitivity. You won't frequently get into situations where you'll need to turn around super quickly. What you will need to be able to do is consistently hit your shots at a medium distance. For this exact reason, I would suggest using a low sensitivity such as a 3 or a 4. This will allow you to control your aim so much more because you'll be able to make more subtle movements on your thumbsticks for smaller movements, especially when using a scope. And when you need to make those small adjustments when you're shooting someone at range, you'll be able to do that so much easier than if you're using something like an 8 sensitivity. So if you're struggling with your aim, lower that sensitivity and I promise you, you'll start being more accurate. And if you want to have a high sensitivity, however, start low and slowly work your way up by raising it once a week, depending on how much you're playing, so it's not so much of a drastic change. My next big piece of advice for you in Blackout is with any automatic weapon at medium to long range is burst fire. If you quickly tap your trigger finger, firing 1 or 2 bullets at a time, you'll be able to land your shots pretty much every single time as you completely take out the gun's recoil. There are so many times that I'll see a player just spraying their gun towards the enemy and they won't consistently hit the target. Yeah, some shots will land and you'll occasionally pick up kills like that, but it'll be a bit random. You won't be able to make those small adjustments to land headshots or consistent body shots, and against a good player, they'll just wait for you to need to reload before either pushing you or returning fire. So get into the habit of burst firing. Take your time and be patient with it. You'll find yourself coming out on top in gunfights a lot more often. Now, the biggest change that you're going to have to get used to in Blackout compared to all other CODs that you've played is the fact that guns now have bullet travel time, which means that you can't just line up your crosshairs on your opponent and expect the bullet to hit. You'll have to gauge a couple different things on the fly every time you get into a gunfight. Firstly, how far away is your opponent? Do you need to aim a little bit higher so your bullet will drop on target? It's where you'll need to start taking advantage of the markers on your scope so you can line opponents up before taking a shot. This is going to take practice to be able to do it consistently without having to think about it. But when you start being able to hit opponents across the map with a sniper, it's pretty damn satisfying. The next thing you're going to need to take into account is your opponent moving? If so, you'll need to lead your shots, aiming just a bit in front of them, once again depending on distance, so that you're able to hit your target. This is actually also why I like using a slower sensitivity, as you can make those small adjustments when shooting at an opponent to make sure your bullets land. One piece of advice I would give is when using an automatic weapon is overcompensate in leading your shots so that you shoot in front of them and slowly slow down your tracking movement so your bullets land onto your target before you match the pace of your opponent. It is something that takes a bit of practice, but making sure that you lead your shots and learn to gauge the distance of your opponent will be one of the areas that makes your aim so much better in Blackout. So aim in front of your opponent and slow down your aim, get to learn the markers on your scopes for different distances, and you'll be hitting your shots so much more often, helping you pick up those kills in Blackout. Another small setting you can change that will help improve your aim is to turn off your controller vibration in your settings. I've always done this because when shooting your gun, it can affect those small adjustments that you need to make with your thumbsticks. There's absolutely no need to have vibration on your controller, so make sure you go ahead and turn that off. Because I think that's the thing I've learned with Call of Duty over the years. It's all the small changes you make that do make a huge difference when you start taking advantage of all of them together. So in Call of Duty over the years, there has always been attachments that make your life a lot easier when trying to improve your accuracy, and Black Ops 4 Blackout is no different whatsoever. However, they can be a little bit harder to get your hands on, as you have to rely on finding them in the game. The main attachments that you'll want to help improve your aim in Blackout is the foregrip and stock attachments. The foregrip will reduce your aim down sight sway by 33%, which, believe me, makes it so much easier to aim, especially at a long distance. And then the stock will reduce your weapon's recoil by 15%, which helps a lot with automatic weapons. So make sure whenever you can, get a hold of these attachments and put them on your guns. An easy way of doing that is to head over to common chest spawns like in Fracking Tower under the blast doors, where you're likely to get a gold weapon which has all attachments already on it, and if it's a weapon you don't like, you can just detach them and add them to one that you would prefer. In a second, I'm going to walk you through something that I do every single day for 5 to 10 minutes before hopping into any game of Blackout. But first, you're going to want to make sure you're using the in-game perk Iron Lungs to help improve your aim a little bit in Blackout when using scoped weapons such as an ABR assault rifle or a sniper like the Paladin, because it'll allow you to hold your breath for longer, which will steady your shot, allowing you to be a lot more accurate. And if you're trying to do things such as line a headshot up with your sniper, this is ridiculously useful to use, so make sure you don't ignore picking this perk up. And if you've got an ABR, which is one of the few assault rifles that allows you to hold your breath whilst using, to make it an absolute beast. Another thing you can make yourself do to help improve your aim in Black Ops 4 Blackout is something called centering. This is where you point your crosshair at one of the more dangerous locations on the map, such as a window or a doorway. This effectively allows you to pre-aim a location that an enemy could potentially be, meaning if an enemy appears in the window or comes through the door, you're going to very quickly be able to aim down your sights and start taking shots. It's just giving you the ability to be one step ahead of your opponent in a gun battle, who will first of all have to spot you, move their crosshairs towards you, and then start firing. But in the time that they've done that, you'll have already picked up the kill and they'd be back in the lobby. So just get into the habit when moving around the map of pointing your crosshairs towards the crest of that hill or towards that window or to the side of that tree. Like I said, all the small things you'll do combined together will help make you a more accurate player. But now it's time for my biggest tip on improving your aim in Call of Duty. It's something I've sworn by for years and years. It was something I made sure I did before I ever entered any competitive match or when I was going to try and do some pub stomping, and now I do it before I hop into any game of Blackout, and that is my custom game shooting drill, which firstly will not only help improve your aim, but will also warm you up. So when you get into a match and get into your first gunfight, you won't feel rusty and will have that ability to snap right onto your opponent and pick up the kill. To do this, what you'll want to do is go into a custom game, choose a map, select free for all, and then go into the game rules. Set the score limit to 1,000. I keep the time limit at 10 minutes because that's how long I plan on warming up for, but you can change this depending on how long you want to do the drill. Then you want to go down to gameplay and change the minimap to constant. This means all the enemies will be easy for you to find so that you can practice your shots. Once you've done that, you'll want to add bots to your game. I always go for the max amount you can add. Then make a class that you want to use. Try to stick with guns like the Vapor that you're going to be using in Blackout, and then you're good to go. Oh, and another thing you can do in this drill is up the amount of health for everyone in the lobby so it takes more shots to kill them, as really all you want to be doing is making sure that you're landing your shots so the health of every player doesn't really matter, as at the end of the day, the more shots that you need to hit to pick up the kill, the more consistent and better your aim is going to get. Another thing that you can do during this drill is try out different sensitivities as well to see if a 3 or 4 works for you. Then once you've got it set up, all you need to do is hop into the game, spend some time warming up, and believe me, you'll start to notice a significant improvement in your aim the more you do this. But there we have it, there's some tips to help improve your aim in Black Ops 4 Blackout. You'll also find some of these tips pretty useful for multiplayer as well, so I hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure to let me know what you think down in the comments below, subscribe if you're new, and smash that thumbs up button, and I'll see you next time. Bye!